I did not expect this chunk of a V to be that comfortable playing standing up and that light for something modeled after a guitar made in the late 50s. Even though it's not made from Corina wood, it closely resembles the original. Here it is, the mighty Flying V, the guitar for shred gods. This iconic shape was also introduced in the late 50s together with the mighty Explorer. The V shape is a favorite to a lot of famous musicians like Michael Schenker, Grace Potter, Brent Hinds, Randy Rhoads, and my favorite James Hetfield, of course. I have a slight issue with it though, let me demonstrate. I know, I'll hold it the right way, but it looks like a peepee. Even though it has this rubber grip on the bottom side, it's still highly uncomfortable for me personally to play it sitting down. I have a couple of friends that use the proper posture for playing a Flying V sitting down and they are absolute shred monsters. On the other hand, the Flying V is a joy to be playing standing up with a strap. The upper horn provides an amazing support for your forearm and the high fret axis on these is superb, just look at the back neck joint. These are great, but they're definitely not for everybody, so I strongly advise you try one in a shop or somewhere else before you purchase. But what exactly is it? The Flying V is part of the Epiphone inspired by Gibson series, which include this cool ES335, the Slash signature that I've already reviewed, the Matt Heafy signature that I really wanna review, the Vino Cantrell signature, the Lazarus for Joe Bonamassa, all the way down here to these three, which are part of the original designer series, which include the Firebird, the Ebony Explorer, which I already reviewed, and the Flying V, which I'm doing right now. And I want to bring the specs and overview on screen. You can see inspired by Gibson Collection, recreates the ultra rare 9058 Classic. I'm gonna try to include the overviews and specs from the official websites whenever they're available, because these disappear with time and they hold some valuable information. This bad boy features a mahogany body, a mahogany set neck, India Laurel fingerboard, 22 extra jumbo frets, 12-inch radius and 24.75-inch scale length, the deluxe Epiphone tuners, the logo Epiphone, ProBucker 2, ProBucker 3 pickups, and the Epiphone lock tone locking bridge. Volume, volume tone and a 3-way switch. Measuring them 849 for the bridge, the neck is at 790 and the middle position is 409. The controls are the Epiphone 3-way switch, neck volume, bridge volume and a tone with black top hats. This is the Epiphone lock tone locking bridge. I've seen it on a couple of guitars, the Explorer, the Slash signature, the Goth Les Paul and Explorer. It has individual saddles held in place by a single spring. Thumb wheel and screwdriver adjustable metric. The V doesn't feature a tailpiece, instead it has this V-shaped string through body design like the original. The Indian Laurel fingerboard is dry as hell as usual. The frets need some polish too, I'm gonna put some oil and polish those. Plastic dot inlays, side dot inlays, the frets don't overhang or scratch, they're done okay. Something interesting I've noticed with the Explorer as well, the fingerboard doesn't have binding, this is just the polyurethane finish of the back of the neck. Same nut as the Explorer, this is the cheaper version of the Graphtec Tusk nuts. It is called New Bone and is twice cheaper than the Tusk. Here's a better look of the truss rod cavity. It features what they call an adjustable truss rod, which is adjusted by a 4mm Allen wrench. The cavity is covered by the Epiphone belt, held in place by 3 screws, white on the bottom side, black on the top, gloss. I can't help but to notice that the fingerboard on the V was done significantly better than the Explorer, and I checked 2 of these Explorers, they had rough edges here on the wood on the fingerboard. The V features the classic headstock, similar to the original Gibson from '58. The plastic Epiphone emblem is supposed to mimic the original Gibson one from the '50s, unfortunately looks cheaper and sticking up in one end. Unlike the Epiphone Explorer, The V doesn't feature the Grover tuners, instead it has these deluxe Epiphone 18:1 ratio ones that resemble the originals from the 1958 Gibson. A word of advice, be careful when you're cleaning the headstock with a microfiber cloth. If the cloth catches on the edge of the logo, it might end up breaking it. The nut is 43mm wide or 1.69 inch. The 12th thread is at 53.2mm or 2.09 inches. Thickness of the neck of the first thread is 21.5mm or 0.84 inch. Thickness of the 12th thread is 22.8mm or 0.89 inch. Typical Gibson style radius 305mm or 12 inches. The neck profile is what Epiphone calls slim taper C-shape, but it's toward the U side. I feel it a little bit flat. No electronics on the back of the guitar, but there are certainly some interesting features, like the string through body construction and the inserts for the strings on the back. They are V-shaped like the bridge on the front. One of the strap buttons located on the top horn. On the side of the lower horn there is a feature that is extremely useful to me. There is a cutaway on the side of the body with a rubber strip insert which grips to your thigh when you're playing sitting down. I'm not entirely sure, but I think that the original ones from the 58 feature this as well, which is pretty forward thinking. It is extremely well done and durable as well. I've seen a vintage Flying V copy and it was just a rubber strip glued to the side of the body. There's another strap button near the neck joint which allows you to use a Les Paul style of strap with your V. Another thing that I didn't realize is that the V features a set-through neck construction. It is a glued set neck, but it's made to flush with the body in a way that it's giving you a superb high fret access. I'm super pleased with the way they've done this feature. Playing on the high frets of one of these is awesome. The back of the mahogany neck is finished in black gloss and has similar to the Explorer shape, but feels a little bit flatter. Feels comfortable on the first fret, features those two stickers, the QC sticker and handcrafted in China. It is inspired by the original 58 Gibson, so it features the deluxe Epiphone tuners with plastic knobs. Here is a better look of the Epiphone Deluxe 18:1 ratio tuners out of the guitar. They have the C marking, which leads me to believe they are made in China. These don't feature a nut and a washer for the top, they are mounted in place by two screws from the back. This is what it looks like on the top side. When you remove the tuner, the insert stays on the headstock. The serial number is a bit hard to read, but from this angle you can see it says 2110, which is October of 2021, and 15 is the code for the Qingdao, China factory. The factory strings were absolutely dead, so I'm gonna set this one in E standard with 1046 GHS boomers, because this is a boomer guitar. A word of advice, when you're stringing a string through body guitar, always make sure that the bow end is all the way into the insert, otherwise you see when it's all the way inside, this is where it catches on the bridge. If it catches on the edge of the insert on the back, it will be like this on the bridge, and when it slips, you're gonna have a string break after the bridge, rendering the string useless. Perfectly balanced at 3062 grams or a little under 7 pounds. Now let's hear some basic tones. I already told you the V shape is not for everybody, and I mean it. It's definitely not for me, but this doesn't mean that the Flying V is not a good guitar. On the contrary, it can be extremely comfortable if you're used to it. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for a first or a beginner guitar though. I know it looks cool, you've probably seen a lot of your favorite musicians using some sort of V, like Alexi Laiho, Rob Flynn, James Hetfield again. But once again, I strongly advise you try one out at a shop. Try it playing sitting down, try the different ways of putting it on your lap, try it with a strap if it's possible to try it like that in the shop. Just try one out before buying, because the V shape is a niche, not a lot of people play those. Not a lot of beginners at least. Playing a V looks super cool, but it needs to feel comfortable as well. If you want one, the inspired by Gibson Epiphone Flying V seems to be a good choice.